Welcome to Cartoon Quarantine. I'm your host, Steven, and we're gonna fight against wrong because we're hideously deformed. Woo!
Hear the boys fight against wrong. No, we're hideously deformed.
What's up? I am back, and I'm here to talk more about the Toxic Crusaders. This time, episode 3, Club Fred, written by Jack Mendelsohn. And we're here today thanks to this commenter who encouraged me to continue these videos. So if you enjoy these videos, click like, leave a comment, let me know what's up. So there's been a change of venues. These videos used to be available on YouTube when we first started, but now they are available exclusively on the Trauma Now. It's not really an app, through a Trauma Now subscription. It's as far as I understand, it's all web browser based. But they have a huge catalog of trauma movies and trauma affiliated movies, and they have this rare gem, the Toxic Crusaders, episode 3, Club Fred, written by Jack Mendelsohn. So Jack Mendelsohn is a prolific animation writer. He's written for, let's look it up here on the phone machine, Gadget and the Gadgetinis. Didn't even know that show existed, but apparently they're a Gadgetini.
Gadget, here comes Gadget. Gadget,
Clifford and the Big Red Dog, Zorro, 1997 animated version, obviously. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 9 episodes, whoa. Toxic Crusaders, 7 episodes. More Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Camp Candy, Beverly Hills Teens, Dennis the Menace, Jim Henson's Little Muppet Monsters, Gallivants, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, whoa. Meatballs and Spaghetti. I have no idea what this cartoon is, but it looks horrible and I want to watch it. The Richie Rich and Scooby-Doo show. I had no idea that Richie Rich and Scooby-Doo were once co-stars together. What madness. Let's take a look back to his first credit. What do we got here? Groovy Ghoulies. Whoa. I like some Groovy Ghoulies. Crazy Cat with a K and Beetle Bailey. So he's been working in animation since the 60s as a writer. And here, after 30 years of success, he has landed at the Toxic Crusaders for his particular zaniness. And this episode is particularly zany. And let's get into it. So this episode starts off in Dr. Killamoff's lair, where he's going through his plan with his evil team, as usual.
Any suggestions, Mayor Grody?
What about the Tromaville old folks' home? It's spacious, convenient, and you can walk to the supermarket.
Smugglers don't have feet.
They have little wheels. That's even better. All the curbs at the home have wheelchair ramps.
Mayor Grody recommends to Killamoff that the old folks' home, aka the retirement home, would be the best location for the alien invasion. Now, I love retirement homes as a locale in fantasy and science fiction properties. Probably the one I can think of off the top of my head is Bubba Hotep, where there is a mummy, a cowboy mummy, who is sucking the souls out of elderly people in a retirement home. Unfortunately, we don't get to see the cockroach aliens eviscerating a bunch of retirement elders in this episode. But we do see some fun antics at the retirement home. And it starts off with that Dr. Psycho repeating gag that we love so much, where he predicts the plot of the episode.
I'm worried, boss. Like, what if the Toxic Crusaders' mom happens to be friends with one of those old biddies? And she calls on the Toxic Crusaders to help. And he and his fellow mutant creatures kick butt on our Radiation Rangers.
What a preposterous idea! No wonder they call you Psycho.
This episode, we get to see a little bit of the Toxic Crusaders playing poker together and kind of conducting themselves in a very slapstick, Three Stooges kind of way.
My cards! Says hell. Says me!
Oh, yeah?
Ow! Slap me, will ya?
Not really my type of humor, but I understand its place in animation history. Yvonne still can't sing this episode, and she has, I think, 3 or more songs this episode. It's just insane. So if you're a fan of out-of-pitch singing, this is the episode of a children's cartoon for you. Crusaders have a huge battle with the Radiation Rangers at the retirement home.
Okay, guys, this is gonna be.
The Radiation Rangers are the perfect Stormtrooper-esque bad guy for the Toxic Crusaders to fight. They are faceless grunts that can just be destroyed and hammered with trees and sneezes and, good old Toxie 1-2 punch. Toxie saves the seniors the only way he knows how, by stacking all the people in wheelchairs into a pyramid and carrying them with one arm, like Superman. I love the boldness of the animation and the fearlessness to really go for fun, over-the-top, cartoony visuals. We have proof this episode that Toxie watches his caloric intake, so his body being in tip-top physical condition is not simply by luck of toxic waste. Psycho gets to say "I told you so" this episode, which, after 3 episodes, it's satisfying to hear him say that. This is real story development.
I told you so.
You did what?
Wow, what an unexpected turn of events.
And then they repeat the same, basically, plot and jokes that they did before. And they devise a new plan to take over Tromaville. And Dr. Psycho, once again, predicts what could go wrong with this plan, but still goes along with it. And Dr. Killumoff, once again, acknowledges this, but still goes through the plan anyway. So, the cartoon logic is, really, I think, one of the greatest assets that this show has. So, Killumoff devises a plan to send the Toxic Crusaders on a vacation to Club Fred. Now, what is Club Fred a parody of? I don't know, because it doesn't exist anymore. But I do know, because I'm old. And I remember Club Med commercials. It was a vacation resort that was very popular in the late 80s, early 90s. And let's look at these amazing commercials.
Free to be yourself. Free. Suddenly you're as free as the breeze. Free to drift or dream or dance. Free to give or take a chance. You're here to be what you can be. Club Med. Because you've chosen.
So, Club Med basically sold itself on sex for a while, and then it sold itself on family vacations.
The Toxic Crusaders don't know it, but for them, Club Fred will soon turn out to be Club Dead.
So, of course, if Dr. Killumoff is going to successfully turn a toxic waste site into looking like a paradise worthy of a vacation, he's going to need to do some remodeling. And he has his henchmen planting the 6 palm trees they can find. And I really love how this cartoon gets into the minutia of supervillainy and pulling schemes and plans on people. I love bad guys doing stupid minutia to try to beat somebody. Like planting palm trees. Like the idea that these cartoon characters are so petty to conquer the world that they think a logical thing to do is to plant 6 palm trees and dress up in drag to best their enemies. That's... Thank you, Jack Mendelsohn. Amazing. Chef's kiss. Before Toxie leaves on vacation, him and Yvonne have this very spicy conversation about how Yvonne melts for Toxie, which I think is a little risque for children's television.
I simply melt when you hold me.
Sort of like those plastic flowers you brought me?
Exactly.
Way cool. They sent us our own personal hovercraft.
So the Toxic Crusaders are on their way to Club Fred, and how do they travel? By hovercraft. Such a 90s thing. I think as soon as we left the 90s, people stopped even mentioning the word hovercraft. Does anyone in the present day think longingly of hovercrafts as some sort of superior type of vehicle? Because in the 90s we thought hovercrafts were. So Psycho and Bonehead are both dressed in drag to try to trick the Toxic Crusaders into living in a toxic dump, which is different from the normal toxic dump where they reside. They try to kill the Toxic Crusaders with hang gliders, and then are beaten by a lucky breeze that pushes them onto the hang glider. And I gotta appreciate this cartoon's moxie for being unafraid in writing new accessories for these action figures to have. We can now sell a hovercraft. We can now sell a hang glider. This episode is just producing so much. How much can they sell in 13 episodes? Then we have this B-plot happening where a new character, Junkyard, just arrives in town and meets Toxie's mom and is looking for the Toxic Crusaders. Psycho and Bone them have tried to kill them with hang gliders, then with a camera that's like a bazooka or something. This is just so many action figure props. So this episode has a hovercraft. This episode has a hang glider. This episode has windsurfing. They are just making up the best props for action figures to sell. Come on. Jack Mendelsohn, thank you for the product synergy. You're amazing. Junkyard finds the Toxic Crusaders and gives his flashback origin story about how he is a dog who fused with a hobo, aka homeless person, and is now one functional freak.
Half bow wow and half bum. Now that I could read, I discovered newspapers were good for more than just house training puppies. I read about Tromaville, the town where all hideously deformed creatures of superhuman size and strength seem to end up.
Whoa, you finished that flashback just in time. Look what's coming.
Apocalypse attack helicopters.
And look over there, radiation rangers.
As a former military man, I'd say we're surrounded.
Toxie is so wholesome. He literally says, "Let's fight for decency and honor."
Toxic Crusaders, let's fight for decency and honor. We could really use some heroic music about now. That's more like it.
What has 4 wheels and flies? An apocalypse garbage truck.
A tree! I need a tree! Nah, it's not what you're thinking.
Something like that. Ready, set, throw!
Junkyard then gets sworn into the Brotherhood of the Toxic Crusaders, which I had no idea there was an oath.
Repeat after me. I, Junkyard, promise to obey all the rules of the Toxic Crusaders.
I, Junkyard, promise to obey all the rules of the Toxic Crusaders.
And to stay off the furniture.
And to stay off the Hey!
Just fooling.
And the team becomes a family by making sure that Junkyard has his own doghouse next to the Toxic Crusaders clubhouse. And that was episode 3 of the Toxic Crusaders. Stay tuned for episode 4. Subscribe to Vundacast Productions. Leave me a like and let me know in the comments, what was your favorite moment of this episode of the Toxic Crusaders? Oh yeah. One more thing. I would like to point out that we now have a new member. Oh yeah. I got off eBay a major disaster action figure. And he has no accessories. But he looks like a toy.
Crusaders, we're the Toxic Crusaders.
Oh man, I'm working for a cockroach?
For the Smogulans to take over this planet, the air and water must be first poisoned to our liking.
If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And make sure to comment. Woo!